So I thought I'd do a little review on the GoPro wireless adapter, or the Wi-Fi combo kit. Just took delivery of it yesterday, and looks like it's going to be a really handy piece of kit. So in the box comes the black remote controller, and in the middle there is the silver Wi-Fi back, which attaches to either the Hero 2 or the original Hero. You have to actually upgrade the software on your camera, which is a little bit of a process, but wasn't too bad. I think that the main thing about that was that it would be easy to get a little bit impatient and maybe unplug something, but if you do leave it to do its work, all the instructions do come up, and you can update it quite easily actually. The way to update it is using Cineform, which is GoPro's software, and it's certainly the software used on the Hero 2. So effectively you would plug in your GoPro camera, open up Cineform. You should then be able to highlight the device, which is the camera, and update the software by following the instructions on screen. I'll possibly do a little video on that process because it can get a little bit awkward-ish. So I do have two of these cameras, so I still have to update one. So if your software is already up to date, if you've done a recent update on the software, there's every chance that you won't have to do the update because it'll be ready to go. But you'll still have to register the Wi-Fi back and also register the remote control online. So there is some work having to be done there. Now in the box, as I say, comes the backpack and also the remote control, and also there comes a strap. This is a strap. So the purpose of the strap is that it just goes through the remote control and you can velcro it to your wrist or somewhere that you can control the camera with. It also comes with a charging lead, which is basically this lead. So it plugs in to the Wi-Fi back and just goes on via USB. So the idea being that it clips into the charging section and allows you to charge the device. So basically just clips in and then USB into your computer. So that's quite simple. There's a little tab on the back to release, so you basically just push that to one side and then release it, and that gets you disconnected. It also comes with this little keyring device, really, which clips in exactly the same fashion, but it's quite a handy way that you can keep the remote controller safe. Just immediately maybe take the strap off it, clip it to your set of keys, you're not going to lose it. So that's quite a good little feature. So again, basically just plugs in like so, nice and firm, and you know, this ring's already maybe on your keyring. So again, unclip it, simple as that. So that's off to the side. Now, what does it actually do? Well, once the software's been upgraded and you've got everything set, all you have to do then is attach the back piece to your camera. So that's just done as you would any other accessory for the GoPro. Straight onto the back there. There's a viewing window there that lets you know if what the battery condition is, and if it's active. So there's a button on this side, which is this button, and that allows you to switch it off and on. And there's also a charge point here for the actual Wi-Fi setup. So you'd switch it on here, just press a button. You then see that you get the battery indicator, and you also get a little wireless indicator as well, just to say that it's actually trying to operate. So I'll turn it round, and that's the camera on. That's the Wi-Fi back on. Now, next part of the equation is obviously the remote controller. So again, to switch it on, really the buttons mimic the buttons on the camera. So for instance, the mode button here, this mode button, is really just representative of the on-off button at the bottom, and the upper button with the red circle is really representative of the top button on your GoPro. So to start, press the on button. We've got a startup screen, battery condition, and as you see, the camera is just automatically moved into life. Now, what you have there now is you've got a viewing screen on the remote, which is obviously perhaps attached to your wrist, so you can see it. It's, you know, your camera may be attached to, well, for me, the end of a kayak or something like that, or certainly out on an arm somewhere, or, you know, not accessible. So what we have now is a viewing window which completely mimics what you see on the camera. So there we go. You can flick through the modes just by pressing the bottom button. You see it goes to camera mode, and everything's mimicked between the two. Yeah, so you just scroll through all the settings, and the camera is just basically being controlled. You can also get into the setup menu, which is there, and obviously you want to go into settings. You would press the upper button, which is the same way as you would press the upper button on the camera itself, and that then takes you, you can scroll through the settings just as you would. So this can all be done remotely, which is, you know, this is really the purpose of the whole device. There's a few extra symbols come up now. So there's a Wi-Fi symbol, there's a Bluetooth symbol, which obviously that's something to come, and yeah, I think that's all at this time. I can exit there and go back to normal. There's normal film mode, 1080, 30 frames. So now, in this condition, I can just, if I want to record, just press the upper button. The camera just starts to record. And then I want to stop recording, just press a button and the recording will stop. So that's really the bare bones of what it's about. Seemingly the remote controller can control, or you can control up to 50 cameras, which is something I'll never do. But the other feature for me that's important was that the remote controller is waterproof. So it's waterproof up to 10 feet or 3 meters, so that suits me perfectly well in the sport that I participate in. And really that's the first part about it. So in order to switch it off, you just basically press and hold, everything goes off, and that's it. Now the camera's gone off actually, but what hasn't gone off, which is an interesting thing, is the Wi-Fi back. So it's still on, ready to accept a signal. Obviously that makes sense, because when you're, you want to switch it off and on, so the Wi-Fi has to be on. So it's worth remembering after you finish shooting or doing any work with the camera that you're probably going to have to switch the Wi-Fi back off. Otherwise the battery on that's just going to get drained. And that's it off. So I'll try and post some links up to the setup software, etc. And I'll be using it in the near future to try and make some small films. So watch this space.